even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, 'cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the ball!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup!
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. La Vida Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
The sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion.
It's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything.
All right, let's try this again. Does everyone hear me? I would hope so. I have, it wasn't, it's good. Yeah, we're good. Okay, we're good. All right. Okay. Much like the Montreal Canadiens, it wasn't working out for me tonight to start the show, but hopefully I'll be able to finish strong, unlike the Montreal Canadiens who did not finish strong. It is Monday, October 14. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. The Montreal Canadiens played their 4th game in 6 nights. They were out to a 2-0 deficit. They were able to clutch and claw their way back into the hockey game and actually end up taking the lead by a score of 3-2. And then the Pittsburgh Penguins were able to tie it up at 3, and then 4-3, and then 5-3, and then into the empty net 6-3. So there you have it. The Montreal Canadiens lose by a score of 6-3 in Montreal versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team that was very beatable on this night. A Pittsburgh Penguins team that is far from being the team that they used to be, a Pittsburgh Penguins team that has suspect defense. They have suspect goaltending. They have suspect depth at this point in time in their organization's history. But the Montreal Canadiens weren't able to take advantage. Now, look, part of it, folks, has to be the 4 games and 6 nights. It's not to be neglected for sure. The other part has to be that here's the deal, and I don't want to blame them for this because I've been asking for exciting hockey for a long time. The Canadiens played exciting hockey tonight. Unfortunately for them, they didn't play smart hockey. And that's got to drive Marty St. Louis maybe a little bit crazy. He who likes to play exciting hockey and he who likes to play offensive hockey, but I'm sure that he's not happy about the performance of his best players tonight. Lane Hutson looked great when he had the puck. When he didn't have the puck, he didn't look great tonight, folks. Let's put the cards on the table. He was -4, not all on him, because unfortunately for him, David Savard was having a really bad game, and you could tell that right from the start. And then they ended up splitting them up and put Lane Hutson with Caden Gooley, put Matheson with Barron, and put Savard with Xhekaj. The defense pairings changed a couple of times during the night, but the Montreal Canadiens had a lot of players in the minuses tonight. I talked to you about Hutson and -4. Savard was -3. Suzuki was -3. Slav was -2. Caulfield was -2. So that number 1 line totaled a -7 tonight. Dach was -2, Newhook was a -2, and Armia was a -1. So that number 2 line was a combined -5 tonight. They didn't look good in the faceoff circle either. Dach was 25%, Evans was 25%, Suzuki was 40%. Only Dvorak had a real good percentage tonight at 67%. Evgeny Malkin looked like he was 20 years old against the Montreal Canadiens, a goal, 2 assists, 3 points. He was a +2. Lars Eller came back to haunt his former organization and scored 2 goals. It wasn't Montembeau's night either. Without further ado, let's bring in Grant McCagg from the Recruits Draftcast podcast and Sick Pod News. Grant, how are you?
Well, I think you took about 3/4 of my talking points there, Tony.
Well, you're smarter than me, so I'm sure you have a lot more. What's going on?
Well, just Hudson, he's going to have those nights against a guy like Malkin and that. And then when Savard, like you say, Savard struggled. When your partner's struggling, you're a rookie defenseman. Look great with the puck as usual, and like you said, like away from the puck tonight, he looked like a rookie NHL defenseman. And there's going to be those nights this year.
Yeah,
there's so much more positive than there is negative with him. So we can put up with the odd night like that. But for me, Tony, it's I'm really concerned about Dach right now. Being the second line center, he doesn't look like he's a second line center right now.
No.
And I think I go back to what I said at the start of the year about, I think Dvorak needs to come in and center that line for now to get things to. They have to stop giving up so many chances, and they have to win possession of the puck. Like, he was 25% again in the faceoff. With it 3-3, he lost that draw, and for me, that was the turning point in the game.
Yeah, mind you, some will say it's not in the defensive zone; it's still outside of their zone. But
yeah, but
the Penguins get possession of the puck, and then they bring the puck into the Canadian zone, and it never gets out.
No,
it ends up in the net.
And it's just like when you're winning 25% of your draws, it's just not, nobody plays a top 2 center role in the NHL with I think it's under 30%.
Yeah, you actually said it about give or take about 2 weeks ago. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said, Tony, Dach wins about 35% of his draws. Newhook wins probably just a little bit more. The best faceoff man on this team is Christian Dvorak. You said you wanted to see him on the second line, whether it was at the center ice position or to take most of the important draws or to take all the draws on that line. And, look, it's going to be a courageous decision by Marty St. Louis if he goes in that route, because let's be honest, if you take a look at what the lines are, he's got Dvorak basically on a 4th line.
Dvorak and Heineman were the only had players over 60% Corsi tonight.
Yeah,
Dvorak's been good all year, as far as I'm concerned. He's been playing very well. He had a good break. He had a breakaway again. Like, he's skating since he came back from injury last year. He's been skating the best that he has as a Canadian. I think he finally got healthy, and he started off this year strong too. He's very good defensively. He wins draws. He's good defensive. I think that they need to put him in there to give the Canadians a little more structure on that second line, because they're just Dach's not doing it offensively, but because they don't have the puck most of the time. I think Dvorak's is as effective as Armia, or more effective, and he can win some draws for them. So as far as replacing, Armia with Dvorak, I don't think that that's a step down. In fact, I think it's probably a step up because of the importance of winning some draws.
It's funny you say this, because of course Kirby Dach was injured all of last season, got injured in period number 4 of the season, game number 2. But the season before that, we saw him play right wing, with Suzuki and Caulfield on the left side. And we also saw him play at the center ice position. Based on what we're hearing, Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon really liked him in the middle of the ice and thought he played better hockey there. And I'm sure they have access to a lot more advanced stats than I do. But, from the naked eye, I can tell you that I wasn't as convinced that Dach had played his better hockey at center ice, because he looked a lot more free on the wing. He although he's got a lot of tools, and a lot of people look at that big body and think that he would be the solution up the middle of the ice. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of commitment, like you just said, in your play. And it seems like Dach wants to be a lot more free. He wants to be, it almost seems like he doesn't want that commitment. And if that's the case, then maybe he's a winger after all. And, we should, the Blackhawks were unsure of if Kirby Dach could be a top 2 line centerman. They weren't sure. Doesn't mean they were right or they were wrong. I mean, still, it is too early to tell. We also have to say that he missed out on a very big development year last year. I mean, that's hard. I mean, as much as I like to bring him into some of those meetings, I mean, you got to play.
Yeah. Well, they want to win hockey games, and right now he doesn't look like a top 2 center. So you try someone else for now. That doesn't mean he can't get back there once his game picks up, but right now he's struggling, I think.
Yeah.
How many points does he have? 1? Maybe 2.
What I noticed too, his passes aren't being completed on the power play. It just seems like every time he's trying to pass, it gets intercepted. I mean, there's a big difference between the way he passes the puck and the way Nick Suzuki passes the puck. Like, for example, when Suzuki found Slafkovsky tonight, Dach's not finding players like that.
No. I would like to see him on the second power play unit, and Hudson go with 2 defensemen on the power play. I know that most teams don't do it anymore, but Lane Hudson's better than any forward back there on the point on the power play.
Well, he plays like a forward.
It's the end thing to have a forward back there.
Yeah.
None of them are better than Hudson on the power play on the point. So,
well, if your ideology is 4 forwards and a defenseman, I'll make the argument that Hudson plays like a forward anyway. So, what's the difference type of thing? All right. Now, okay. There was news earlier today, and the Montreal Canadiens had placed Alex Barré-Boulet on waivers, of course, yesterday. And the waiver wire brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading full-service logistics provider serving all of North America, driven to be different. And at 2 p.m. today, we found out that he actually cleared waivers, even though there was some kind of rumor that Detroit was going to pick him up before 2 p.m. But when it was official, Alex Barré-Boulet cleared waivers and was loaned to the Laval Rocket. Marty St. Louis was asked about that earlier today, and he said, look, at this point in time, Heineman and Kapanen, we feel, can help us more. And we just wanted to give them a little bit of breathing room so they can get themselves going. And that's how he explained Barré-Boulet being sent down or being put on waivers. Let's get to the Montreal Canadiens lineup, which is, before we do, it's brought to you by Bittt, Tibi. They launched their new Ultra Lager. It's a refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for the cool fall days. Only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. It's ultra light and ultra refreshing. Let's take a look at the Canadiens lineup. Grant? All right. Suzuki with Slafkovsky and Dach. Slafkovsky, by the way, scored a goal in front of Uri Sr. tonight, much to his delight, I would imagine. Dach, once again, in between Armia and Newhook. Evans with Gallagher and Anderson. Dvorak with Kapanen and Heineman. On defense, to start the game, it was Matheson and Gooley, Hudson and Savard, Xhekaj and Barron, and Samuel Montembeault in goal. The Pittsburgh Penguins lineup is brought to you in part by Playground. Step into the world-renowned poker experience at Playground, where free food and drinks, a cash game tables, a bad beat jackpot that's over $2.1 million. Weekly promotions, daily tournaments, unmatched customer service await you. Why play anywhere else? Just minutes from downtown Montreal, across from the Mercier Bridge Playground. Let's get to that Penguins lineup. Grant Crosby with Rust on his right and Anthony Beauvillier on his left. Sidney Crosby was 1 point away from 1,600 points, by the way, but unfortunately for him, he didn't have it going on tonight. He was great in the faceoff circle, but that was it. He didn't have a shot on goal. Malkin had Raquel on his right and Bunting on his left. Eller with Puljujarvi on his right, O'Connor on his left, and Glass with Achari on his right and Hayes on his left. By the way, that fourth line has some size and grit. I like that. On defense, Grzelcyk and Letang, Pedersen and Carlson, Graves and Shea, and goalies are Jarry and Blomqvist, and Jarry had the start, of course. Grant, the lines, we knew that those were going to be the lines. Your plea tonight is, as of next game, Thursday versus the Los Angeles Kings, you want to see Christian Dvorak centering Kirby Dach's line, or they're on the wing and just taking the faceoffs?
Well, I don't like either one, Tony. Like it could even be Newhook centering the line with Dvorak taking the faceoffs, but I think that they need to start getting a little more possession. That can be a good line, but not if they never start, the shift with possession of the puck. You can't always just change them on the fly. They got to take some draws. So, I mean, I'd give Dvorak a look there. I really think he's been one of the better, more solid Canadians forward so far. And, it's a meritocracy. They've been doing it all year, so do it. I know Dach, they want Dach. They really want Dach to be a second line center. We all do, but right now he's not playing like one, so you have to make an adjustment. I also hope that Struble gets back in there, because I think they need, as we agreed, I think in the previous broadcast, he was probably their best defenseman in the preseason.
Yeah. And
I'd like to see him in there. Although Barron, I didn't think was that bad tonight. He's actually, through 3 hits, he's top 50 in hits in the league right now. And that's a part of his game that, scouts always questioned, he needed to play a more physical style, because he's not a small man, but it looks like he's picked up that part of his game. And I've actually seen an improvement from him. So I don't necessarily think it has to be him that comes out. Maybe even Xhekaj sits, and they have Struble and Barron as the third pairing. But I think Struble will help stabilize it a bit, because his outlet passing has been flawless pretty much since he became a Canadian. And I think they need that right now, a little more stability on getting the puck out of their zone, and his physical play, just his all-around solid defensive play. I think they need him back in the lineup. So make a couple adjustments. I mean, 2 games, giving up 6 goals, tells you that they need to tighten things up. And I know a lot of fans aren't going to be. That's not the sexy thing to put Dvorak on the second line, but right now, I think it's needed. And it's probably the smart thing to do.
Look, I would imagine there's a bunch of people right now that are watching us on YouTube and they're saying, for the love of God, Dvorak. But I need you to listen very carefully to what Grant is saying, okay? Your top two lines, their main job is to generate offense. And if they don't have the puck and they're chasing the puck, they're not going to generate any offense. Kirby Dach's face-off percentage, not only this year, but this year more than other years, you go back 6 years, including this year, Grant, 6 years ago with Chicago, 33.8%. 5 years ago, 40.3%. 4 years ago, 32.8%. 3 years ago, 38.3%. Or I should say 2 years ago, and last year, 37.5%. But mind you, you're only taking 8 faceoffs. And this year, 18.8%. I mean, these are terrible faceoff numbers for a guy that's supposed to be a top two line center. As a matter of fact, I'd be willing to bet that you go down the list of NHL teams, you take their number 2 center, and Kirby Dach averages at 35% less of a face-off winning percentage than probably any other second line center in the league.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. So if he was filling the net or getting lots of points, then maybe you forgive it to a certain degree, but he's not doing that either, right? So I think you really have to consider changing it up, because that to me was the turning point of the game. It was tied. It was anybody's game, and that one I just had a feeling that was the backbreaker, and it all came off of a lost face-off again by Dach.
Yeah, there's so many missed assignments though in tonight's game. I mean, Josh Anderson with a turnover. The Canadiens had all kinds of trouble tonight. That one of those led to the puck in the net. The Canadiens had a hard time clearing the front of the net. They had a hard time with their rebound control. They had a hard time winning battles along the boards. They had a hard time getting the puck out of their zone, and a lot of times too. And Hudson was guilty of this. We love Hudson because he's thinking offense all the time. And sometimes you got to pick your spots. And I'm not so sure, or at least tonight, out of all the games that he's played, tonight was the game where he probably didn't pick his spots very well. It's almost like for him, the light was green all the time. It was never red. It was never yellow. It was always green. But if you take a look at the certain moments of the game, the light was red sometimes and the light was yellow. But for him, it was always green. So like you said, you got to take the good with the bad. You're going to win some. You're going to lose some. When he had the puck on his stick, it was still electrifying. And he was still, going through some world-class players like they weren't even there. But it was the toughest night defensively for sure. Yeah.
He almost had more ice time than Matheson. It was close.
5 seconds.
Over 24 minutes, And I know I mentioned at the start of the year maybe Kapanen, but I think it's a little early to try to stick him in a top 6 role. I thought he struggled some tonight. Heineman and Dvorak were very good, but Kapanen wasn't his best game. I think it's best to keep him in a bottom 6 role for now and let him keep getting adjusted to the NHL.
Heineman gets better every game, by the way. Heineman gets better every game.
Yeah, he does. But maybe you could even have Kapanen centering the 4th line with Heineman, and you could and then put Dvorak up on the 2nd line and bring Armia down to play with the 2 kids. Yeah, that might be an excellent 4th line.
To tell you the truth, I have no complaints with Evans, Gallagher, and Josh Anderson.
No.
I think Josh Anderson has worked harder this year after 4 games than he worked all of last season. I have no problem with Josh Anderson. I think we all have to get it out of our heads that he's not going to be able to score the way he did 5 years ago in Columbus, those 27 goals. And if you come to that realization, then I think you're going to like him.
I've liked the last 2 games in particular. He seems to have that power horse mentality back, powerful skating, getting in the corners, forechecking, hitting, getting back. He's never going to be a creative player. That's just not him, but he can chip in some goals, play good defensively, play physically. Gallagher's had a really good start to the year. I think Evans, this is maybe the best he's looked in the last 3 years. I've been very happy with Evans so far this year. And, that's a solid third line. But I don't know, change it up a bit and maybe, even drop Dach down to the fourth line for a bit and get him, get his confidence back. He's got 1 assist so far, -4, less than 20% in the faceoff dot. That's just not a second line. That's not a stat line for a second line center.
Yeah.
And I think they need to shake it up for now. Doesn't mean it's permanent. People can get all crazy about it, but Dvorak's played a second line center position for the Habs before, and he did in Arizona.
He did in Arizona, yeah.
So I mean, it's not he was. I know in speaking to a lot of guys, NHL guys, including his former, Mark Hunter, I asked him, and he said he can play anywhere in your anywhere in your lineup. He can help you out. So I know that was a couple of years ago, and there's been injury issues and disappointment because he was, it cost them a first round pick and a second round pick. And I think he'll always be a whipping boy to a certain extent from the fan base because he didn't live up to, that kind of return. But
yeah,
I still think that he's, he's in the prime of his career. He's healthy now, and given the opportunity, I don't see why I don't think he'll hurt you, and he'll help immensely with the faceoffs. He was 67% again tonight.
Yeah.
With Dach 25. It's such a difference. 50%, almost, from one guy that wins 1/3 of his faceoffs to a guy that wins 2/3. It makes such a difference to start with possession of the puck.
Yeah, actually 25% would be a quarter, would it not? But anyway, I was never
right. But I was thinking 30, on the year.
I got it. Hey, the first and second period scoring is brought to you by Accent Insurance. All insurance isn't created equal. Grant, you know where to find the right insurance solution for you. Accent Insurance. Accent doesn't sell insurance. They shop insurance for you. Find the right product, right on the money, whatever your insurance needs, home, automobile, or business. And you can take down their website, accentassurance.com. And you can jot down their number and give them a call tomorrow at 514-363-3636. So let's take a look at the first and second period scoring, Grant, if we can. All right, okay. In the first, it was Lars Eller on a wrist shot. Lars had a couple of wrist shots tonight that went in, and he's got a real good wrist shot. But I got to tell you, on the second one, I thought Montembeault could have done better. Assist going to Pettersson and Puljujarvi. Ricard Raquel it's a bang play. Right in front of the net, and assist to Malkin and Bunting. Caden Gooley on a great pass by Michael Matheson narrows the lead to 2-1. About a minute 44 left in period number 1. On to period number 2, they go. The Canadiens on a power play, and Nick Suzuki just sees Juraj Slafkovsky all alone with his stick on the ice and just puts it there, and he's able to just tap it into an empty net. Heineman recovers a puck and breaks away unassisted. And he's just skating down the left wing, and he snaps a quick shot that beats Jarry. Eller scores his second of the game to tie the game at 3. They go into third period, and in the third period, Kevin Hayes, 7:47 in, assisted by Carlson and Achari. Christopher Letang on it looked like pretty much every single Montreal Canadien was up the ice. It was unbelievable. The Penguins were like tic-tac-toe, and it was like just unattended. There was nobody there. That take a 5-3 lead. And then in an empty net, Hudson takes a shot, and it gets stopped, and then the Penguins recover. It goes from Grzelcyk to Malkin, and Malkin all the way down the ice into the empty net. And the Pittsburgh Penguins win by a score of 6-3. Once again, they won 65% of the draws tonight, only 35% for the Canadiens. And the Penguins outshot the Canadiens 11-6 in period number 1, 12-10 for the Canadiens in period number 2, and 11-9 for Pittsburgh in period number 3, 32-27 overall. 2 wins versus Toronto and Ottawa, and 2 losses for the Montreal Canadiens versus Boston. And of course, tonight versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Canadiens' next game is going to be on Thursday. How are they going to do the rest of the way? Betway, it's a leading global online betting and gaming brand. Follow your gut instinct. Go with Betway. Go on betway.com or scan the QR code to join the action. Must be 18 years old and over and play responsibly. Okay. Xhekaj's minutes are going down, eh?
Yeah, they are. Yeah. I think it's just like Struble's going to be in for him as soon as he's healthy. Probably. Barron's been better the last couple of games. I think you got to. I mean, he's on the right side. It's tough. It's a tough ask to okay, Struble, first game of the year, we're going to throw you on your offside here, throw you to the wolves type thing. That third goal too, Tony, I meant to mention, you're up 3-2 late in the second period. What are the 2 defensemen doing up ice? Like, Slafkovsky was left as the lone defenseman back.
Yeah.
And, Eller had lots of speed. I mean, for a winger, Slav didn't play all that poorly. It's just he's not a defenseman. He can't pivot, and he's not used to doing that.
Yeah.
You got a stick. I think he got a stick on the shot too. And
they lack discipline in their play tonight, Grant. I mean, if you were in attendance, you would have loved to watch that game. But the fact of the matter is, the Canadiens played that game like a game of pond hockey tonight.
Yeah.
And look, it's fun for us to watch, and I'm sure it's fun for those who paid, $250 a ticket tonight. But, I'm sure that Gordon and Hughes appreciated the game a lot less maybe than everybody else.
I think they're going to be busy in the video room tomorrow.
Yeah.
Going over a lot of, but it's good. Get these games out of the way early in the year, learning lessons, hopefully.
Yeah.
Show lots of tape and say, look, don't both pinch when you're up 3-2 and leave Slafkovsky as your own defenseman. I mean, wow.
Yeah. So you made a comment that if Struble's ready to come back next game versus LA, that you believe that he's going to be in for Xhekaj. There's a lot of people, once again, look, we know that Xhekaj is like one of the 3-4 most popular players on the team, right? So anytime you're going to say anything, a lot of people are going to say, no. And we're getting some comments, Barron doesn't know how to do anything. Now, folks, here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal.
Whatever.
It obviously can go either way. It's going to be Xhekaj or it's going to be Barron, but Struble's getting in that lineup because on the Canadiens depth chart, he's ahead of both of those guys, okay?
Yep.
Now, here's the deal. When the season was going to start, based on the practices, Struble was going to be in, and Barron was going to be out. Okay, but if you take a look at the last 2 games in particular, things have changed, and Xhekaj is being used as a 6th defenseman on this team.
Yeah,
they put him solely against 3rd and 4th line players. He's never out there versus 1st or 2nd line players, and his ice time keeps on decreasing. So
Barron was sorry, Tony. Barron, like when they switched the pairings there.
Yeah,
I noticed like Marty's done that more than once. When they get down, they stick Hudson with Gooley, right? Because they want to give him that extra ice time and get back. That's their best offensive pairing, they figure. And they're not going to put Matheson and Hudson together because they're 2 lefties and neither really play the right. And Gooley can play the right. Has he been on for a goal against yet? Still, I don't think so. It's crazy.
I don't think so. And obviously, when he scored that goal, I mean, he's been on 5. I think Gooley's been on the ice 5-on-5 for every goal but 1.
That's crazy. But no goals against, playing his wrong side. Like he's blossoming before our eyes. But Barron played get back. Sorry, Tony,
3 minutes and 39 seconds more than Xhekaj tonight.
Just to get, I went a little off kilter there. But when they switched them up, who did Matheson play with? Barron. Barron was on the second pairing. So
and once again, yes, Gooley played with Lane Hudson, and
Right.
Arbor Xhekaj played with David Savard, who was struggling very early on. They ended up on the third pairing. So, yeah, folks, you can say whatever you want, but Arbor Xhekaj's been their sixth defenseman the last couple of games. He's the guy who plays the least. And tonight, with the Penguins on the power play on a couple of occasions, Xhekaj didn't even get a second of the penalty kill. Like, he got nothing on the penalty kill.
He only had 2 hits coming into this game too, which if he's not hitting too,
he had 5 tonight. He had 5 tonight.
That's right. Tonight he had 5.
He led. He led everyone in.
That's right.
In hits tonight.
But it was surprising that he only had 2 going into the game.
Yeah,
and Barron so far this year has more hits than Xhekaj. So he's not he's not really playing more physically than Barron. Had the best hit of the night.
Yeah, he did. Hey, by the way, Sidney Crosby led all players in one category. Do you know what that is?
No.
I bet you this probably is the first time it ever happened in his career. He led all players in giveaways tonight. Gave away the puck 5 times tonight, Sidney Crosby.
Yeah, he wasn't the best game from Sid the kid. And yet they came out with 6 goals, so
it's unbelievable.
It was disappointing the third period. They had to have the lead 3-2 and to lose 6-3 at home. It's like looks like it's so far anyways, there's good, bad, right? Good game, bad game, good game, bad game. So hopefully they can string a few more consistently together. But I think Struble will really help stabilize things. And, I don't know why fans overreact so much to a guy coming out of the lineup that's the 6th defenseman anyways, playing 6,
Hey, hold on a second. I have to do this now because now I'm going to lose it. Simon Gadbois. Tony, you were praising Xhekaj after the game against Toronto. Now you say he needs to sit out. Simon, what in the world is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you? Are you just dumb or stupid? Versus Toronto, he played a good game. And versus in the last 2 games, he's played not a good game. What's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? Are you just looking for a fight tonight? Are you looking to get me upset? Are you looking for an argument or what? Versus Toronto, he played well. In the last 2 games, he's been the least used defenseman on the team. He's been their 6th defenseman due to the ice time. I'm not saying it. Marty St. Louis saying it. What in the world is wrong with this guy? I love this job. But when people ask stupid questions or make stupid comments, it really bothers me. Other than that, everything's good. Grant, go ahead. I feel so much better now. But for the love of God, man, what a stupid comment. You praised him after Toronto. He played well versus Toronto. Played well. And in the last preseason game, he played well too. And in the games before that, he lacked discipline. And in the last 2 games, he's been their least used defenseman. He's been their number 6. They don't even play him on the penalty kill anymore. They only put him up against 3rd and 4th liners. And obviously, Struble has to come in. And by the way, with all due respect to Arbor, because, every player in the National Hockey League is a good player. I've always said from the first shift that Jaden Struble jumped on the ice in the National Hockey League that, in my opinion, he's a superior defenseman to Arbor. And by the way, and I know that people are going to hate to hear this, but NHL executives think the same thing. And NHL coaches think the same thing. I haven't spoken to a lot of them or to all of them, but I've spoken to some of them. And this is how they see it. And by the way, this is the way the Montreal Canadiens see it too. Well, this is the way St. Louis sees it, and this is the way the management team sees it.
If it's any consolation, I see it that way too, Tony. Getting back to the fans overreact because yes, Arbor Xhekaj can beat up. He's the toughest guy on the team, so that's why he's so popular. There's no other reason. It's not because he's a great defenseman. It's not that he's, never makes mistakes or he's going to be their top offensive defenseman. He's never going to be one of their top 4 offensive defensemen. He struggled some defensively. He wasn't even hitting before tonight. And then I was surprised when I saw that he had 5 hits, to be honest with you, because I don't recall any of them.
And guess what, Grant? You're probably going to hate to hear this, but I know you're going to probably end up agreeing with me. At least I think so. And a lot of people are going to hate hearing this. Hockey's what have you done for me lately? It's not what did you do for me 3 games ago or 4 games ago. And I'm going to tell you right now that I love Lane Hudson. I am the president of the Lane Hudson fan club. I am 51 years old. The last time I went to buy a Montreal Canadiens jersey, or I received the Montreal Canadiens jersey, was a couple of years ago. It was the legendary Guy Lafleur. But I haven't bought a Montreal Canadiens jersey since I was a teenager, I think, right? Yeah. I'm tempted to go out and get Hudson's jersey, and I'm tempted to frame it, and I'm tempted to put it on that wall, okay? But I'm going to make you a prediction. Lane Hudson's going to be a healthy scratch at some point this season. It's going to be a healthy scratch. I don't know when it's going to happen, but he will be. I believe that'll happen. And does that mean that what?
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, man. No. So, he's been great some games. He struggled defensively tonight. He didn't pick his spots tonight. He was obviously -4 tonight, which is not very good. And that's it. Xhekaj played a very good game versus Toronto. He's been used as the number 6 the last 2 games. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. It's there. Yeah, just watch the game. That's what it is. Being used as the number 6. He's being played less than everybody else. You think his coach thinks he's better than everyone else if he plays in the least?
No. Savard might even sit out but they need the right defenseman. Again, it's funny though. I asked Andre Tournier, and I kind of thought that, I seem to recall one of his teams having a bunch of left defensemen, and I asked him, had he ever played with 5 or more left defensemen in the lineup? Yeah. And he said the year they won the championship in Ottawa, the 67s, all 7 of his defensemen were lefties. Even the extra guy. So,
really?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not like you can't play with predominantly left defensemen. And hey, if the 6 defensemen that are playing the best are left-handed, you probably have to try it at some point. If Savard keeps struggling, maybe even it's Savard that sits out a few games.
Yeah,
like Savard, none of these guys.
Savard looked like a guy who struggled tonight playing his 4th game in 6 nights.
Yeah, well, that's part of it, I think.
Yeah,
he's usually pretty steady, but it wouldn't shock me. Like all 7 of these guys are quite capable, So maybe even Savard sits the odd game. Like certainly, if I was going to pick whether it would be Hudson or Savard that sat out a game. At this point, anyways, I'd probably take Savard, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Imagine if they iced a lineup with 6 left defensemen. That would be interesting.
Look, they can still ice the lineup with 7 defensemen. At that point,
right.
You shave minutes off of everyone, right? I mean, there's a solution to do it right there.
Yeah. But Barron, I've changed my tune a little bit on Barron. I thought maybe he was going to be the odd man out, but last couple of games, he's been probably one of their top 3 or 4 defensemen, which isn't saying a lot, maybe, but I'll give him due. I'm willing to admit when I, overreact to somebody and maybe make the wrong call. He looks like he's improving, and he's playing better physically. He's not turning over the puck as much. I've liked his game the last couple of games, so I hope it keeps up because there's a good asset for you, right? Even if he does get moved down the road, if it is when he's playing well, his value will be a lot higher. So
he look. Sometimes I ask myself what kind of defenseman Justin Barron is. Like I don't know. Like, is he fish? Is he pasta? Is he meat? I don't really know what he is. But right. You did mention something that. Up until a couple of games ago, he was getting rubbed out of the play, and he didn't look like he wanted to engage in some physicality. And it seems like now it's the last couple of games where he's saying, you know what, I gotta add that to my game, and he has, which is good. Now, look, I still don't think Justin Barron is going to have a very long future with the Montreal Canadiens. For me, his future is going to be as long as it takes Mailloux and Reinbacher to get into the lineup.
Yes.
And when they do, then I think his time will be up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been calling for them to bring up Mailloux to replace him, but again, they don't. It's asset management, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to. They're not going to lose him on waivers, and they're being patient with him.
Correct.
I mean, it was Hughes' first deal too, and there's always going to be a soft spot. He believed in him, or he wouldn't have traded Lehkonen for him. Right?
You're 100% right, and I'll tell you this on Mailloux. Mailloux, I didn't think deserved to make the team out of camp. It seemed like there was a lot of attributes that were there and are still there, but
because he wasn't showing offense. Is that
no? I just think he was a second behind on the decision making, okay. but then he leaves that, he goes down to the American Hockey League, and he looks too good for the league. So he obviously he's a lot closer to the NHL than he is closer to the AHL. That's for sure. There's no doubt about it. But I'll say this. I don't think it's a bad, if he would stay down with the Laval Rocket for a month or 2.5 months and play at the level or even close to the level that he did versus Providence, I don't think that's a bad thing, because then by the time he comes up with all the confidence in the world, and then he's not ready at 100%. He's ready at 120%. So I think it's all good,
Yeah, no, for sure. They're not being as reactionary as maybe we or me and Habs fans are being, and that's fine too. You can't be reacting to every loss or every win, and making moves based on that. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So yeah, they'll keep making the right decisions, I think. I mean, Barron has looked better the last 2 games again, so maybe that was the right decision. Certainly I wouldn't waive him. He's got value, and right defenseman that can skate. He put up decent points when he played with the Habs last year. He hasn't yet so far this year, but it looks like he's cleaned up his defensive game and playing with more physicality, and that's what he needed to do. So yeah, I think he's making strides. And let's not forget that he's young, and he missed a lot of games too, 2 or 3 years ago with injury and stuff. So he doesn't have a pile of pro experience. I mean, it can take you 300 pro games before you're really, really comfortable at the NHL level. And he's well under that yet. So I'm glad that they're being patient.
Tonight's questions that we're going to take, and we're going to take 10 of them tonight. We'll take 10 of them tonight. Is that okay with you, or it's a lot of questions, eh?
No,
10 is
bring
good.
them
Okay.
on.
Yeah, tonight's questions are brought to you in part by Po Montreal, Peau Montreal. Po Montreal, Dr. Manish Khanna. He has a game changer for hair loss, by the way. It's called TED. It's an ultrasound technology. It's non-invasive. It's all natural, no needles, no pain, 98% success rate for ideal candidates. Visit www.pomontreal.com for more info. 2 locations. Downtown Montreal is one. The West Island is another. And it's an ultrasound technology to boost the blood flow to your scalp. And for a free consultation, call or jot down this number. You can call them tomorrow, 514-989-7328. 989-7328. Folks, I'm only going to take questions if we got some good questions, and not this guy sucks, that guy's terrible, this guy's no good, this guy doesn't know how to play, get this guy out of here, send him to the American Hockey League, he should be a healthy scratch, he wouldn't be on a good team, that guy's not a good coach, their power play. Questions, all right? Questions, not comments. Do you have questions? Okay. Dreams of Silver Seasons says, Grant, what's wrong with Suzuki? Grant, do you think anything's wrong with Suzuki?
What's wrong with Suzuki?
Yeah.
On the ice for 4 goals against tonight. again, we're overreacting to. We're 4 games into the year, right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with Suzuki is that they've only played 4 games, and he's been up against what? The top line of 4 teams, which happen to be Matthews,
Elias Lindholm,
Lindholm and Pasternak,
Stutzla,
and Tkachuk, and now
Sidney
take
Crosby.
your pick. Crosby, Malkin, whoever you like, and so he hasn't stood out, but it's 4 games into the year. He's the last guy, the last forward on the Canadiens that I'm going to worry about, just because after 4 games he's not lighting it up. Just we have to be patient and not overreact to a couple of so games. I don't think there's anything wrong with Suzuki. I still think he's playing well. Just circumstances that he's been on the ice, like empty net goal. You can't blame him for that. A couple of the other ones, they weren't his fault. So it's just, if you look at the Bear statistics, he's terrible and he's never going to be good again. But no, we know what we've got with the captain, and just it'll turn around. They're 2-2 without Suzuki playing well. When he starts playing well, hey, Suzuki, maybe they go 4-2.
Suzuki, it's not typical of what he has been since he's been here.
Right.
Since he's been here, he's been consistent, and in the 4 games this season, we've seen flashes. Yeah. So he hasn't been consistent. He's been flashy, and that's not him. So we'll see. I expected him to start better, because usually it's big boys who takes a while to start better. Like, for example, even Slafkovsky admitted tonight that he's a little bit of a slow starter. Mind you, Slafkovsky's got his points, though. He definitely has his points.
He does, but he really hasn't played like as well as he did in the second half last year. He hasn't been near to that level. He's got 4 points, but again, that's just looking at the score sheet, right? It's not, from what I've seen, I know that there's more there, and that's part of it too. Suzuki, it's not just Suzuki. Slav's got to pick it up too. It's not just about points. It's your complete game, and I think he can play better.
Slimesy says, should we shake up the lines and give more ice time to Heineman and Kapanen? Grant?
Yeah, they could use a little more ice time, I guess. And you notice that they don't say Dvorak, right? He's just no one ever appreciates Dvorak, right?
Yeah, because for a lot of people here watching, listening, he's a veteran on the way out. And you know what I say? I say, since he is going to be on the way out and he is going to be traded before trade deadline, I mean, for me, there's no doubt in my mind that he will be.
That, Tony.
You don't think so? I
don't know. We'll see. If they're in the playoff hunt, why would they trade him? You've got nobody that's winning faceoffs. Yeah. And if they're in the hunt, so you trade your best faceoff guy? No. If they're in the hunt,
they won't. You're right. If they're in the hunt, they won't.
Of course.
And if they're not in the hunt, they will. That's so.
Probably.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
but I'm not. They're 2-2. They don't have line A. They're in the hunt. Till they aren't in the hunt, I'm not saying, he's gone before the trade deadline. Not saying that they're not going to make the playoffs, Tony. And I still, I don't get that feeling right now. I think this team's going to surprise. I know I've been saying it and over again. There's going to be nights like this. They're young. They might be the youngest team in the league. They're certainly bottom 3, probably, especially with Barre Boulay gone now and Heineman and Kapanen. I'd have to check, but I bet you age-wise, they're bottom 3 in the league right now. So you're going to have these nights. You got a 20-year-old defenseman playing 24 minutes a game.
They're the youngest team in the league, right? They're the youngest team in the league, yeah.
There you go. So,
as long as you take Carey Price off of the roster, which obviously he's not. Technically he is on the LTIR, but once you take Carey Price off, they're the youngest team in the league. 66 Spinning says, the man-to-man doesn't work. 3 years we've been doing this. Guys, what do you think, Grant?
I don't honestly pay enough. I'm not a coach. I don't pay enough attention to whether zone or man-to-man's better. I'm probably not the right guy to ask about that. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's zone or man-to-man. You got to execute, and they didn't execute. So if they can execute man-to-man, are they going to execute? It's again a young team, young defense.
Not a
They're
big
all
defense
learning.
either, eh? Not a big defense either.
Well, I mean, if you think of one guy, and I know you were saying the other day, I heard you were talking about them not being that big. With Boulay gone, like there are 3 players that are undersized, but most teams have a couple,
Yeah, but
and the majority of them.
When I said it, Boulay was here, so it would be Suzuki 5'11", Newhook 5'11".
5'11", 200 pounds isn't really undersized. Tony.
Okay.
Both those guys are big, thick, and Suzuki's he might be a quarter inch under 6 feet tall and 210 pounds. I don't consider that undersized. Is Sidney Crosby undersized to you? He's 205 pounds of solid rock.
No, he's got a very strong core. He's also
So
probably
does Suzuki.
probably the third best player of all time.
Right. Right.
For the top 5
I don't
anyway.
lump Suzuki in as undersized.
Okay, Gallagher's
I consider weight to be pertinent. Newhook is 200 pounds. Suzuki's 200. Like if you look at weights, like Slavkovsky's 230.
Yeah.
Anderson's about 230. Xhekaj 230. Matheson, Dach is 220. Line A when he's back in the lineup will be another 6'5", 220 guy.
Yeah.
Like they're not a small team.
Well, okay, so they're not a small team because
overall
Suzuki and Newhook are 200 pounds. Okay, no problem. I'm going to give you that. Okay?
But Tony, like they've got 6'4", they've got Dach, they've got Slavkovsky, they've got Anderson, they've got Xhekaj. Barron's a big boy. He's 6'2" plus. Savard weighs about 230 pounds. I mean, I can go on.
I understand that, but at the time that I made the comment, Barry, the height is good. It's good. But the time I made the comment, Barry Boulay is 180 pounds. Cole Caulfield is probably 170 pounds.
Right.
Brendan Gallagher is probably 180 pounds. Lane Hudson is 160 pounds. They're small.
Those are the 3 guys, Tony, in the lineup. That's 3 guys out of the whole lineup that aren't that big. Most NHL teams have 3 guys that aren't that big, is my point.
Yeah. Okay.
If you just look at the small guys, okay, they're small. But there's 23 guys in the roster, and 3 of them aren't very big.
Okay,
that doesn't mean they're a small team.
I understand that. But Barry Boulay, Cole Caulfield, Gallagher, and Hudson makes 4 on my math. But
Boulay's not on the team, Tony.
I understand. And I made the comment
that's what I said to start.
I heard that.
Boulay,
but you said you made the comment the other day that they're small. And I said to you, I made the comment before they lost Boulay. That's what I was saying. Okay.
Tony, no, I said that you said right when Barry Boulay was still that they were small, but he's gone now.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
And they really only have 3 undersized players.
That's why I think
that's not a huge amount.
No, I think it's one of the reasons why they waived them too, because they took a look at the makeup of their team and said, you know what? I think they lost battles in Boston, and they probably said, you know what? No, it's 1 too many here. Okay,
but Dvorak's a good, 200 plus pounds. Kapanen's a 6'1.5". Heineman's a big boy. Like they're not overall, Tony. They don't have a small team. I believe it's right somewhere in the middle.
Yeah,
like I've looked at the heights and weights before, but
look, I think it's going to be
one of the smallest teams in the league anymore.
No, they're not. You're right about that. I think it's going to be better, obviously, when Liney makes his way into the lineup.
Especially,
and Demidov comes next year. Well, then I don't think Newhook's going to be a second line player. So now all of a sudden, in your top 6, you're only going to have one guy who's smaller, which is Caulfield, right?
That's right.
And so I think that's obviously going to really help because you can have the small guys, but if they're going to be in your top 6, they got to be really good. Now Cole Caulfield's really good. Didn't score tonight, so he's no longer on pace for 106 goals, folks. He's probably on pace for about 100 now. or something like that. All right. Why don't we take? By the way, tonight there was some bite on the show. It was good. It was really, really good. You see that means that everyone has raised the standard to win hockey games. So when you're not winning, everyone's upset, which is a really, really good thing. Okay.
I had a big coffee before I came on, Tony.
Good for you. Good for you. But you got to be careful though, because coffee before bedtime doesn't always mix. You know what I mean?
No, but I didn't want to fall asleep during the third period there.
Yeah. Hilarious says Tony's 5'5", 340 pounds. Actually, that would be inaccurate. All right. Tony is 5'9" 3/4 and 264 pounds. Okay. So thank you very much for mocking my size and my weight. It's very much appreciated. Yeah, very, very good. Okay. Sounds like he was, just brought up by just great parents and just, your parents failed, but your parents failed. All right. Okay. On that note, what better way to end the show than that? And you know what? There's some comments sometimes that come out of my mouth that I think it'll give you a reason to watch tomorrow. Unless you're the guy who I just told him that his parents failed, of course. Probably he didn't like that very much, like I didn't like his comment also. All right, okay. So that would make us even. Mind you, I think I actually won on that. He's laughing. He says, okay, that's good. All right. I guess he agrees that his parents failed him. All right, okay. So I'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. By the way, tomorrow night, Eric Engels and Brian Wild will be joining me. If all goes well, Craig Button will join me on Wednesday. And following the Canadiens and the Kings on Thursday night, Pierre Maguire. That's my lineup for the week for Grant McCagg. Thank you very much, Grant, with the Sick Podcast, the Recruits Draftcast podcast, and writer with Sick Pod News. Thank you for all the great articles. Oh, you wrote one on Mo Robinson today.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What a great guy. Oh my goodness. And he had lots of stories about Larry, and I'm writing a second book about notable players from the Ottawa Valley. Yeah. And I did the upper Ottawa Valley, the first book, and I'm concentrating on the lower Ottawa Valley for this one. So guys like John Wensick, who there's a neat story about him playing an alumni game with Mo, and just the things he had to say about Larry. But I find often the guys that were kind of on the cusp of making the NHL and didn't quite make it often have as good or more interesting stories than the stars. And it ended up writing a 54-word, 100-word article that I thought I would give people a tease of what my book is going to look like. So that's up on the site, free to read. I hope people can go have a look at it.
Fantastic. And of course, Grant tweeted it earlier today. So take a look at, if you're not following Grant McCagg on Twitter, you definitely should be. If you're not following me on Twitter, I think you definitely should be. And if you're hilarious or the other guy on YouTube tonight, I don't care if you don't follow me on Twitter. Other than that, everything's very, very good. Thank you very much. Tony, insulting someone's family is low. I didn't insult his family. I just said they failed him. That's all. That's all I said. All right. Okay. Is it an insult? Or maybe I think it's a fact. All right. I think I should go now, right? Because there's nothing good that's coming out of actually staying on a little bit longer tonight. Canadians lost. Everyone's -4, -3, -2. No one can complete a pass. Grant doesn't want Dach at center anywhere. He wants Krieger. He wants Dvorak there to take the draws. We're all upset right now. We're all upset. Marty's upset. It's time to be in the mix. They weren't in the mix tonight, but maybe they'll be in the mix on Thursday night. Talk to you again. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like the comment, sick, share with your friends. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. And if those two people actually leave me a 5-star review on Apple, I'll tell them I love them again, even though I probably don't. Thank you. Have a good night. Sick Podcast. Back tomorrow night.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaBita.tb. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.